You are now tuning in to the Networth.
Thank you very much. Did you know your network is your net worth? Let's go get this money, people.
Your network is your net worth. Get ready for the episode.
What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning into the show. You are now tapped into the network, where we believe that your network is your net worth. And I'm so excited to be here today. It's not an accident. We're being awesome on purpose. We're being intentional. And I'm just super excited. We got some special people in the house. We got some special guests. I'm feeling real presidential, I'll tell you that. I'm feeling real presidential. I feel like we got the president of the U.S., or at least maybe one day. But listen, I have a special guest that I'm really grateful to introduce, along with my guest host for today. Y'all know what it is, with the Wolf, the networking king. And he was so gracious to give me an intro to Mr. Darwin Roman. Darwin, how you doing today?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be twins. How you doing today?
Man, you stole my line, man. Oh, man. Listen, man, I'm happy to be here because, networking, creating content, social media, exposure, getting in front of people, marketing, that all really is important to me. And it's not to everybody, right? Me and Josh, I know, like, if Josh will always say he gets it. And now I start to understand what that means. And it's like, oh, okay. Right. And it's a whole nother mindset. And I met you at your event that you hosted. And it was your organization that threw the event, right?
Correct.
One of them, right?
One of them.
How many organizations are you a president of?
Well, thanks so much again, by the way, before I even get to that point, thanks so much for having me here. It's an honor to be around both of you gentlemen and lady present as well. Because coming out here in Philadelphia, I have a little bit of a history, I told you, with being in this area, and coming back, it's a good feeling, And if anything, I mean, I know it's just TV in Hollywood, but then again, there is a statue dedicated to Rocky down in Philadelphia, and that's one of my favorite freaking movies. So therefore, it's always definitely the brotherly love is not a myth; it's a fact down here. So I appreciate you inviting me down to your podcast. So one of the organizations that I'm president of, actually the organization, is the Latino Chamber of Commerce in New Jersey. Right now, we're based in New Jersey, but going back to your point, Justin, it's the organization that I did find as a chapter-wise anyway is South New Jersey chapter for NAREP, which is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. So that's the event that you attended, both of you, everybody attended, and I had the blessing to be selected to, or at least be picked or asked to be a keynote speaker that day, with regards to a certain topic that happened to be universally connecting us on the same theme of your podcast, which is network to net worth. It was amazing how that worked out. And
it was funny because there was something else you said, and we'll get into that too. There was a lot of things you said, but it was something that I had written down in my notes from like 2021. But it was visibility plus credibility equals profitability.
Correct.
And that literally has been my content strategy for the past year.
Yeah.
Because I really understand, like I'm a part of the biggest online community for entrepreneurs. Shout out to the morning meetup. We meet every single morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And this month we're doing 31 days of content creation and the power of like what our content can do. But then of course, right, like, who are you? You know what I mean? And that's the question that I always like, am I ready? Am I credible? So this is how I've built credibility, was by having a platform where I could bring others on and you the president, man. So, and then I got my good friend Josh here. Josh, how do you know Darwin?
Good to be here.
Man, that's the story.
Yeah, I mean, it's if I'm not mistaken, it's just another case of right place, right time type of situation, and activity creates activity, and you're always going to get more out of going out to an event or going to a business meeting or even grabbing a cup of coffee than you will staying at home sitting on the couch. And it was just a afternoon seminar in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, put on by NAREP. And there was an awesome panel of speakers speaking on a lot of what we're talking about today: social media, marketing, business development. a good friend of mine, Jay Duran, was on the panel.
Shout out to Jay.
Yeah, shout out Jay Duran. Culture Matters, and Darwin was on the panel, and I was able to network with a lot of good people there. We stayed in touch since then, and a good friend of ours put us kind of back on each other's radar, Ed Stulak, and he was a panel speaker that day too, and that's what it was. So it was like crazy. So and here we are.
You know, and Justin, you touched on something that recently I just got this audio book, and if I can mention the author, I love him. Ed Milet. Ed Milet. He came out with this book called The Power of One More, and and he touched on feeling whether or not you're qualified for something, or maybe hesitating on starting something or being in a position of leadership because you don't feel qualified enough to do it. And Justin, you just mentioned you just did it anyway, right?
Yeah, man.
So he mentioned a story about how he got a big lesson of counseling these at-risk youth. He was a youth counselor at one point. And he said he didn't feel qualified enough to be able to be a leader or a mentor to these young men because he just didn't feel qualified enough. And he said, but yeah, I did it anyway. He said, so if you ever feel that you're not qualified enough to be in a leadership role, to start a business or to start a podcast, he said, draw upon this thought that God doesn't call on the qualified. He qualifies the called, right?
Woo,
and I was like, that was so deep, and I'm like, oh my God, you know what? Yes. Right. And then sometimes to this day, there's days where I just don't feel qualified. But now when I heard that, I said, that's the thought I'm going to draw upon, so that I can reaffirm to myself that I'm in the right place at the right time.
I like that.
For sure, man. That's so true, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was because here at Remax Affiliates, we started a team, and that's the AWS team. My partner, Aus, he is the team leader. I thought he was going to be here. I'm going to get him, though. But he is, man, he's been like a mentor to me the past year and a half in real estate, took me under his wing. And, like, that's why, man, I'm so grateful for Josh. Me and him have been connecting in the same type of way. So I have the privilege to lead his marketing department. So it's a new, it's something new. It's uncomfortable, but, in order to grow, you got to be uncomfortable. And, just learning about team building and all those things, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
How many teams do you run, or do you have one core team that helps out with, like, all of your endeavors?
Right. So with the chamber, I know obviously, in order for you to go fast, you can go by yourself. You want to go far, go with a team.
Exactly.
So the team that I have right now, I have a couple of them, just a few of them actually. No, number one, it's my chamber. So the chamber has a board, but I call them a team, and I changed that label, so to speak, is calling these folks board directors or board members, because I felt directors have positions, and so certain positions have certain rank, and I didn't necessarily want to endorse that kind of ranking system where some people maybe possibly feel lower ranked than others, right? So even myself, I said I'm part of the chamber team. Although I'm the CEO, I'm still part of the chamber team. I'm not below any kind of work. I will roll up my sleeves and make a phone call or knock on a door or go into a business, because everybody should have the same mission. I think I was mission minded, right? And that comes from my experience in the Marine Corps. I spent 98, 2002 serving the Marines. And so in the Marines, they teach you, number one priority is mission accomplishment. Number two is troop welfare, by the way. So what does that mean? On a very high level, the mission becomes before even you, right? That becomes before you. But then again, the training that you get out of boot camp is that regardless of your job, whether you're a cook, whether you're a technician on a truck, whether you're doing admin work, bottom line is every single Marine is a rifleman. So you, regardless of your job, you'll be able to pick up a rifle, shoot your weapon, and be able to shoot at the enemy. So that means that the mission, regardless, comes first. So I tell my team, I go, no matter what, we're all riflemen, right? And regardless of the rank, we all come in. So the team with the chamber helps me out with developing the events. And then I have a small team within my practice with my retirement and insurance practice, where they help me to be able to service the clients, or of course do events too and help the others. So I have a team for my business, but then also a team with my organization.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it's important.
Yeah, it is.
Nice. And what exactly is, like, your association do? Like, what is, like, on both ends? Like, do they both, like, kind of go hand in hand, kind of feed each other?
Sure. So the Chamber of Commerce overall has a couple of functions. Number one, it's to provide education and resources, right? So to be able to help the members get better at their craft or whatever business they're doing. The second part is doing the networking events where they can collaborate and be able to build your network, because that's the whole point, right? Build relationships. And I took this from another organization, the Statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This gentleman, Carlos Medina, he always said it, and they were stuck with me, is that relationships are the most important currency in your business. Right. Relationships are the most important currency in your business. And so I said, all right, well, that's got to be part of the mission. So number one is the educational resources. Number two is the networking opportunities. And number three is advocacy too. And I say that because we have to be able to, on a collaborative level, be unified, so that when a moment comes in politically where there's policy being passed, whether it's for or against the business community, we have to be able to have a voice. Right. In order for to have a voice, we have to have a group. It's like, for example, NAREP. NAREP has about 100 chapters, 50,000 members across the country. So they have a lobbying group. When they go down to D.C., they go to D.C., and any kind of real estate concerns come, specifically when it impacts the Hispanic homeowner, NAREP steps in and lobbies either for or against certain public policy. So that's the other part of it. So as we grow bigger, which we're talking about that later about the expansion, that's my end goal, is to be able to have a larger organization, more members, so then we can make an impact both on a local and on a national level.
Power moves only.
It's like Jay-Z said, man, well, as soon as you walk into this room, break out their umbrella, because that's when we brainstorm.
That's
right.
Oh, man, and that's like the one thing that I love, like, even about the space where I'm in, is like there's not just one right way. There's not just one right way. And, you know, if everybody can just come together, because I think I was telling, we got, shout out to my guy Malik here. We got a creator in training. Listen, man, we're gonna put it on him, man. Say what's up, man. Got the camera out here. Y'all know what it is. Listen, we were just talking about though how you know, it's one thing, like, it's just hard to get people to agree with each other, man, and just you know, like, and that's why it's so important to put people in place, you know what I mean, and build a structure. And that's what I'm learning from Aus with this team. And since we're building a team, I wanted to know, like, if you could give some team building strategies that you you know, do within your organization.
Sure.
But I like that one where you said you have them network together.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
dope.
So on team, when in regards to building a team, it's about finding the right players for the position, right? And so I found that if you find somebody that's passionate for a certain project, for example, don't get in their way. If anything, encourage them, push them forward. Yep. But then also, there's going to be people that in your lives, and we talked about, I mentioned this, I'm going to repeat myself from the last event, is that sometimes when you're trying to recruit people into your organization or into your goal, whatever it is you're trying to do, there are going to be people that maybe come on board and then just kind of pass on, right? In the sense of, like, they fizzle away, and then you know that person has so much potential. You try to convince them almost to be able to stay on board and keep with you. Don't give up. Stay around. But then there's a philosophy and a quote that I mentioned, is that amateurs convince and professionals sort. So amateurs convince.
Break that down.
So amateurs convince.
Okay.
So it's like Justin, if you're recruiting me and I come on your team, let's say you're here at Remax, and then all of a sudden a couple months later I quit, or I just say, you know what, dude, this is not for me. And you keep trying to convince me over and over and over again, this is the right field for me. Like, after a while, why are we doing this? Because I don't obviously want to do this. So move on, because amateurs convince, professionals sort, in the sense of when you sort, it's like looking through a deck of cards, right? 52 cards in a deck, but how many aces are in there? 4. But you got to go through that deck, flip and flip and flip to find the ace. You find the ace, put it aside. Flip, find the ace, put it aside. Same idea in recruiting. You're sorting through the cards to find your aces. But then what happens when you find your ace? The ace brings a whole other deck of cards.
Right.
Sort through that, right?
So, man, I gotta go. Man.
Crazy. So, but then sometimes we try to take a 10 or a jack or a queen or a king to convince them that they're an ace. And at that point, you're convincing. And I said that at the event, listen, let those people go. It's a lot easier to give birth than it is to raise the dead.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Facts.
get another deck of cards and go through them.
Yep.
And go through them and sort
man.
them.
Darwin's out here breaking bread, man.
Dropping gems today, man.
Oh, man. And this is something I was telling Malik, right? And this is a way that, like, I was watching Josh for a minute. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because his type, well, in his Instagram it said networking king, and I was like, oh man, I gotta be cautious on that. So he's an ace. He brings.
He's an ace.
You know, so
he brings his deck.
I know how to add value in the way of content creation. So, like, what I try to encourage and teach the creators around me is that you just got to add value. And a lot of people don't understand what that means because they think it's working for free.
Uh-huh.
And, like, what I'm trying to learn is how to get people to work for free. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. You know what? Working for free, again, it has a
because you gotta sell them a vision, and then from there, like, how do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, the vision has to be strong, right? But getting people to kind of work for free, the word free has this negative connotation to it because nobody wants to work for free. But then again, we say, hey, you know what? You're not working for free. You're working for equity. Your equity is sweat. So it's sweat equity, right? So you're working your way through it. And at some point, their vision has to be strong enough where they say, you know what? This sweat equity is worth my vision. Helen Keller has this quote. Helen Keller that said, "I'd rather be physically blind without sight than have sight without vision." And so when I tell people that quote, it says, listen, so if she could do so many great things and be a person who she stamped her existence in our human world in history, why can't we?
Exactly.
Right? Why can't we?
Yep.
man, that's some powerful stuff. Yeah, and because I work a lot with, like, other creatives, and I might be doing something, an event, or just, that's what I love about what I do is it's like, it's what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes people will be like, well, how much are you getting paid? And I'll have to explain to them that it's not that type of party.
It's not their business either.
Right? Because you know what, though? They say how much you're getting paid. Well, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid in relationships because relationships are important.
Are the greatest asset, right?
Relationships and social currency. People talk about it's all about not so much what you know and who you know. And this guy tell me that, and I go, you're right. I go, now I'll add to that. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and also who knows you. That's the other part, right? That people tend to miss. And so we're building relationships and social currency. And in my mind also, a friend of mine told me this term, and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm building too. Political equity. So I can contact a local mayor in a certain town, and because of my political equity that I've built through my social currency and relationships, the call gets answered, right? All of a sudden, they take me a little bit different because they know that you're a leader or influencer within their community. Because what does every politician want to do after they get elected? They want to get reelected. So yeah, remember that, right? That's their mission. So why not? Right? Exactly. So then we're building all this for a reason, but it takes that sweat equity. It takes that equity. People tend to lose track of that, and it's even in a business too. I mean, if you're building a business, the overnight successes take 20 years, right? That's what happens.
DJ Khaled will be the first to tell you he wasn't paid nothing for 10 years before he started catching a check, and all the people ask him, why are you doing this? Or how much are you getting paid to do this? You really think this is worth your time? Getting multi-millionaire, world famous, mansions, beautiful family. It just, nothing happens overnight, like you said. Average overnight success is 10 years.
That's right. That's right.
Man, I'm like, this is a conference right here.
Yeah, there you go.
This is real, like, and that's why I'm so grateful, because when Josh called me, right, I got to tell you guys this story. For the listeners that are tapping in, when the wolf calls, listen, plans change. Exactly. And I was like, whoa, it's the wolf. Like,
You heard it.
He's like, hey, Justin, what's on your schedule, for next Wednesday? I was like, oh, man, you tell me, what are we doing? And he said, we're going to a networking event. It's called Network to Net Worth. I said, stop playing. And then when you were speaking and you said visibility, credibility, profit. I'm like, man, this is crazy. You know, because that's exactly I feel like that's where we're at right now as a society, because, you know, there's so much bad things going on in the world, or negative things, or recession, and just so many different things. But there's so many powerful things when people come together, when people build each other up instead of tear each other down. You know, and especially now being on a team, I'm just very I'm just paying more attention. You know, paying more attention to a lot of things, and especially the way I treat people. So I like how you said you know, trying to build people up. Can you tell me about within your organization right now and those networking events, like where the people that are coming to them, what industry are they in? Are they in real estate?
They're a mix. They're a mix within real estate, within finance. With some of them have just different industries, like maybe some of them maybe a roofer, or plumber, electrician, things like that. So you have folks that are in finance, or type of, I call it an intangible service and then tangible services, right? And you have a mix of those. So that's what you find there.
Because that's what I was having trouble in, like, because people always tell you to niche down, and I didn't really understand what that meant until now. Like with content creation, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm like, man, should I go real estate? You know what I mean? Because I'm in real estate, doing real estate events, but then now I'm understanding it's all about the most value, the more value.
Right.
So what are some ways that you give value to, like, within your, because I'm sure I'm building a relationship with you. I'm sure you're building relationships with other, you know. So what's one of the ways, because my way is creating content.
Right. Creating content is one way, right? And I get it. You know, there's a saying that goes that you can't cut through steel with a flashlight. It takes a laser, right? So you got to be laser focused. But on the sense of giving value, on my end, it's about those relationships, but it's also connecting the dots. So if I see somebody that so it's almost like a matchmaker. Right. Like you find two individuals and you make the introduction so that they can try to work together. Exactly. And that's the value that I would say I bring, at least within my organization. Because I'm only a phone call away. I tell any member, I said, listen, this could go as large as possible, God willing, but I said, I'm always going to be a phone call away. If you need an introduction to somebody, all you got to do is call me and ask, and that's it. Right? So I was like, so I'll use whatever influence I have to be able to make something happen for you. And then, so that's what we have to do. We have to ask for it. Right?
And anybody can do that with any budget. You know, it doesn't cost any money to do it. You just takes energy and effort and thought and just being intentional.
Right. It's like Tony Robbins says, it's not a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness.
Right.
That's why you're not getting where you want.
Exactly.
That's the struggle I have, is because I'm a little bit too resourceful at times, a little bit too creative, and it causes people to try to keep me in a box. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just in this place where I'm just trying to remain in my box no matter what anybody else says. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know it was as simple as, like, just don't worry about it. Don't think about it. You know what I mean? But, oh, man.
Or if it's outside your box, you think about whose box it's in and be like, I'm not the guy for this, but I know the guy who you need to talk to. And that way you're at least, you know, still making a valuable connection off of something that doesn't apply to you. And just those compound interest type of things really add up. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, Josh, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Right? And by the way, man, that was a dope event. Friday, DJ Too Tough album release.
Big thanks to you, man.
Oh man, and shout out to Imagine Lifestyle. Shout out to DJ Too Tough.
Yep.
And I know from that night, like, what I was so happy about was just that I'm always talking to people, and I'm right there. I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to encourage people. So I'm constantly telling people about other people and about other people. So to get everybody in the same room, I was like, yo, remember I was telling you about so-and-so and so-and-so and so. And it was just like a lot of people started clicking, and I'm like, man, like, that's the payday right there.
Yeah.
You know, that's the payday.
Yeah.
And now, other than, like, I assume, like, those roles within your organization, are they paid roles, or is this a nonprofit?
It's a nonprofit, and the board and the team members and the board members are volunteers. Volunteers. I mean, and even myself. And with NAREP, same thing. A lot of the organizations, like Rotary and Chambers of Commerce and Realtor associations, they're all volunteer positions. But there's a reason why, right? Because we talk about that formula: visibility, credibility, profitability, and that's the payoff.
And network to net worth, man, that was crazy. So you, along with that, you said something else too, but I'm gonna pull it up. We're gonna put it on the screen so the viewers can see. I've been waiting to do this, Josh.
Let's see what you got.
All right, so we're gonna come back to that and play that at the end because it got it downloaded.
No
But,
doubt.
what about, how do you track your relationships? Like, is there any specific softwares that you use? Do you use like any specific systems for like email marketing, text?
Yeah, in the past, I used something with more to my industry. It's called Redtail, but I'm actually looking into another one called Copper.
I've heard of it.
Talk
Yeah.
about
Yep.
that may be a little bit more user friendly for that sense, because you know what, that's one of my we have to admit where we could do better at. One of my areas that I'm weaker in is being able to put those systems in place, right? Have a CRM that's really going to be tracking, dollar for dollar, or at least relationship to relationship, what's going on within my world. So
You got Popl though, right?
I do have Popl, yeah. And you gave me the idea of upgrading to it, so I can have a better CRM with that. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Listen, man, this episode is also sponsored by Popl. Get you at 20% off. Hit the link in the bio.
There you go. There you go.
And go cop that.
Shout
You
out
know,
Popl.
Seriously, like Popl, because I'm always meeting people, and like business cards, I throw them away.
Nah, yeah.
So Popl, you can scan the business card, and it will still log you into your CRM. So
Right.
everybody's about to get hit with some emails.
Yeah.
What? I know you got some special things coming up, man.
I do.
What can you tell us, man? Because I'm really excited to know. I mean, but there's a couple like different things, right?
So I have about 2 events coming up later on this fall. So with the Chamber of Commerce, what we're doing is we're doing annual events, and the blueprint that I found is working is that if you do a kick-ass event, people look forward to it the following year. So you want to do it annually. So one of them that we did last year, that we're going to do it again, it's called Sailing for Scholarships. So it's a networking cruise event that we do. And
Networking
cruise on a boat,
Right.
right? Last year we did it. It was 256 people that showed up to the boat. And it was food. It was open bar. We had a live salsa band. It was nuts. It was a great time. And it went from a town called Hoboken in New Jersey, which is on the Hudson River coast. And it went around the Hudson River in Manhattan.
Nice.
So it was a city/New Jersey kind of cruise.
Awesome.
And barely successful. So we're going to do it again this year. So this time we're going to do it more in October because you do events and you learn your lesson, right?
Right, of course. Yeah.
August was way too hot.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's hot now, so it was not a good time to do it in August last year.
Yeah.
But lesson learned, and also a little bit more cost effective because you're doing it in October versus the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing it in October is more comfortable, and hopefully about the second, maybe latest third week of October, we're looking to do it. Depending, obviously, trying to work on the logistics. That's going to be in October. The following month, we have a target date for November 10th. So I'm talking about expansion. We're going to be expanding the Chamber of Commerce and opening up a Florida chapter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. So
Expanding.
yes, so we're going to be doing a launch event in Miami
Nice.
on November 10th at a place called American Social. So everybody's welcome, of course, to come. But we're
Sounds
looking
good.
at launching an event because then what we can do is we can duplicate the events that we did here. So imagine the Sailing for Scholarships, but down in Miami, right, on a boat. So
Yeah.
we're looking to do that as well. And of course, one day soon, Philadelphia. I love to have a Philadelphia chapter.
Of course.
So I can imagine, I can visualize seeing a Sailing for Scholarships Philly edition
Yep.
up and down the
Delaware
River.
yeah,
I can see
yeah,
that happening
yeah.
big time, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
And so that's what we're looking to do. So be able to expand more chapters and do more events to be able to help not only us as we grow, but also what we do is we partner with other nonprofits. That's been the blueprint that I've been following so far. Is that we find another nonprofit and we help them out as well. So we're going to launch the event, let's say in Miami in November. We partner up with Embrace Autism, which is an organization that supports the autistic community. And we're gonna launch our event, but then also raise funds for Embrace Autism.
Amazing. Networking for a cause.
Exactly.
Love it.
Exactly.
And you know, Justin and I got your back when you're ready to take over Philly with Now Rep.
Yes.
You already know.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, man, your network is your network. And even just like that saying, right? I want to shout out to my guys real quick. I want to shout out to Joe McCabe, Jesse Barnes. You know, this episode is sponsored by Remax Affiliates. If you are looking for a brokerage, I'm gonna tell you the best one. It's Remax Affiliates on the AWS team. So listen, shout out. Joe and Jesse were two people within my life. You know, people I wanted to build relationships with, you know, at a kind of higher level, you know, and expose me to business at a different level. And I'm just super grateful for all the information, all the knowledge, all the introductions, you know, so that's why I continue to rep the brand. And we're killing it here on the AWS team. So if you are looking to get into real estate, even like my man over here, he's probably going to sign up. By the end of the day, we're going to walk him next door. We're going to show him, you know what I mean? And he's probably going to make that deposit. So, listen, we are over here making power moves. We are over here also, man, speaking about real estate, non-rep, because non-rep is for, like, real estate professionals, correct?
Yes.
So, I assume there's a lot of real estate professionals under the age of 35, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so, man, Josh, do you want to tell them about the 35 under 35?
Yeah, we're kind of in the thick of this marketing campaign, 35 under 35. It's highlighting the top 35 realtors, 35 years or younger. It's a special edition of December's issue of Philly Real Producers Magazine. We have some podcasts lined up with the network and Just Blessed Media. We have a photo shoot event lined up with Bryant Sanders Photography. And it's not too late for realtors out there in the greater Philadelphia region to submit an application. It doesn't cost you anything. And to get accepted into the 35 under 35 is not solely based off of production. We want to take a look at who you are as a person, what you're doing for the community, what separates you from the 18,000 real estate sales professionals in Philadelphia County, and we're going to make a big to-do out of it. A lot of rising stars out there. I think it's important to focus on, you know, the new blood and the culture, and just, you know, embracing the young professionals as well as the veteran real estate professionals out there and everybody in between. So we're really looking forward to the 35 under 35 campaign. And Justin, thank you for your help with it. And make sure we drop that link so that people can fill it out too.
Gotcha,
Yep.
I will. I'll drop the link.
Yep.
I'll drop the link. You know, I got all the links. And that's the other thing, right? And I was telling my good friend here, because we met at a Earn Your Leisure event, right?
Earn your leisure.
Yeah. So I've been tapped in. You know, I just been tapped into, you know, financial literacy, and just for that was like a year ago. And look at the growth. You know what I'm saying? And that's something beautiful, because even there they said some of you are going to start businesses together. You know, and me and him, we've just stayed in contact. We've stayed strong, and we still say it like, yo, we're going to do some things together. And he just bought a camera. He was over here at the event. You know, he's making some videos, because providing content gets you in the room. It gets you in the door. I've been invited so many places. Otherwise, they would never invite somebody like me, man. But it's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing. And content is king. Being able to control your own narrative. Like, a lot of people don't understand. Like, the podcast for me is just a place to bring people. It's not my necessarily means of income. My means of income is my media company. So to be able to do these type of things, it's really a blessing, man. So, as you know, I'm partnered with Josh. So whatever you need, we got you.
Appreciate that.
And if you ever need a place to create content, this is your home.
Thank
You know what I'm saying? and yeah, we got about 5 more minutes, because I gotta keep on time. But listen, this, like, I know, just doing something like this, it could, you know, I don't even know what it's about to turn into. Just know that when you run for president, we got you.
Yeah, got our vote.
Listen, we got you, bro. We got you. We're gonna start the campaign. No, but seriously, man, I'm so grateful that even that you wanted to be a part, because oh man, I wish that video would have showed up, but even the video we did right before I left, I was so, man, I was honored. So thank you for coming out, showing the support, showing the love, dropping the gems, because I just got to go back through this stuff, because it's like, wow. Once you think you're on another level, you realize you're not somebody. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right. You know, and it's talking about working for free, right? We mentioned that. Doing what we're doing here. What we're doing is we're all having an experience together at this point, right? And I've told people that don't be afraid of giving. Like Gary V. Gary V gives a lot of content away.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't give a shit. It's
Right,
easy.
right.
Because you know what? Who cares? He's like, so many people are not going to take action
Exactly.
anyway. What does it matter,
Exactly.
right? So it's like, so in my mind, it's like, all right, so it really doesn't, you don't lose by giving. People think that your knowledge is you're giving away, and then people maybe they'll take advantage of it and somehow use it against you. No, most likely, they may not take action, right? But so that means, or they may take action, but it might benefit them and good for them. You know what? There's the saying that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle.
Right.
A candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. Yep. So imagine if we as a collaborative group we can light each other's candles, right? And then we can fire it up, right?
Right.
Fire it up because one candle lights another's later, and it literally lights up the entire world.
Boom.
we lighting candles, baby. Listen, your network is your net worth, man. Oh man, I'm so blessed. You got any questions for him?
Yeah, so
I know it's too much.
we're getting fired up here. We're getting fired up.
And listen, man, shout out to Beth. We have our listen, we always recording. We always recording. There's cameras always on with us, right? But seriously, Darwin, thank you so much.
It's my honor.
Josh, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
For the intro, just for everything, because like, if you guys want to get plugged in, just follow what we're doing, be a part of some events, and just let's go.